Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and this is just going to be a short 25 to 30 minute video of this 6 plus challenge as it continues. I think like 45-minute videos too long, especially in a game like this where there's plenty of action to be had in 20 minutes to half an hour. And this is just like, I wasn't going to do another video this week. I didn't think there would be that much to update, but this game is so, it's like crazy and swingy. I think like more regular updates are perfectly reasonable. Since the last video, we are now getting very, very close to achieving our target. We've made 17,000 according to this, but my bankroll tells me that we're like, this might be out slightly. I'm not sure, because it seems like we're just 4 buy-ins away now from completing the first part of the challenge. During that time, I've had a session where I won 16 buy-ins in a session. I think we already discussed this. I've also had sessions during which I've had like 10 buy-in downswings and then recovered and then lost them and then recovered again. This doesn't tell the entire picture. Looking at this since Monday, it just looks like it's been a glorious ride of just like constant profit, which it has been by the end of days. But like, in such small, relatively small sessions, like 600 and 700 hand sessions, there have been some ridiculous short-term variance, which I'm really pleased I've dealt with. Like in terms of like my mental game, I played a session this morning, if you will, about maybe just before midnight through to maybe 2 in the morning, and I got buried. I was like within an hour. I was down 9 buy-ins and I couldn't really put my finger on what I'd done wrong. I certainly didn't tilt. And then I recovered to only lose 3.5 buy-ins. Then this morning, before we've managed to get the recording going, we're up about 800 chips. So yeah, it is fucking crazy. I think when the games are playing like relatively passively and straightforward, I find the game far easier in terms of like feeling like I know what I'm doing. Then sometimes you get tables where there's maybe 1 or 2 players and a lot of their strategy is just let's go all in pre-flop, usually with the strongish hand, like, you know, 10s, jacks plus, and then like ace jack suited plus, and then I've been getting involved in those situations, like not really knowing what correct calling ranges are, especially when it goes multi-way. And that's really when the variance kicks in for me. That session last night, I must have been all in pre-flop 8 or 9 times in the first 25-30 minutes, and I didn't do that well in them. I didn't get my money in especially badly. A lot of the time, I had reasonable equity, I think. I just didn't win any of the flips, and it just seemed to be like lose, 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 lose. Then I adjusted slightly. I started playing a little bit more tightly and stop limping so much, because like limping seems like a red rag to a bull. And players like this guy here, he's got the yellow tag, he's 40/10, but in like, to express that in like no limit terms, I'd say that's much more like, you know, the real 18/5 nitty type. And then I just found I was just getting it in not great against them. Like they'd be jamming pocket kings, I'd be calling it off with ace queen, and yeah, well, you have decent equity with ace queen. You're still getting it in as an underdog. So it's kind of, but if you were limping, they would like jam pretty wide. But I found if I was just like raising to like 8 antes, then 3-bet jams almost never came, and people were just calling a lot more with stuff that they would maybe jam versus the limp. I don't know. I'm not experienced enough yet to understand that. As we say that, this guy just goes all in as if to prove my point that he loves all in pre-flop. Yeah, this guy either wants to like just limp and call a raise or go all in. There's no in between with this guy. His raises pre-flop are usually all of it, which can't be good in my opinion. But and he's losing heavily at the game. So this guy falls very much into the shit rate category in my opinion. But you don't want to see him at your table still, because he just spoils the game, because he is very much, you know, like super tiny pre-flop or all of it, and it can be annoying, but the games are just so fucking good in general that it's something you've got to put up with and something I need to adjust to. And I haven't figured out properly how to do that yet. I think it's like, It's almost like a pandemic. It's like a really infectious thing. Once one person starts going all in pre-flop a fair bit, it seems to catch on with other players, and next thing they're doing it, and before you know it, there was a time last night at like 2 of my tables where we had 3 of the same players, where it was just all in our fault pre just about. That seemed to be how the game was playing, and I was like, this is pretty shit. I'm not enjoying this very much. But then like 1 or 2 players change and the game dynamic changes immediately. And then like I say, I was, instead of like limping, I was kind of just trying to make what would be normal raise sizes for these games, and found out that people weren't as keen to 3-bet. I think in this game, even though you're getting really good odds pre-flop, I think playing too far away from the button, I think button cut off and maybe this seat are okay to play from. I think these 2 seats when the button's there, sorry, I think these 3 seats, the first 3 seats after the button I think are diabolical, and then the button and the 2 seats before the button are like really good seats to play from. So I'm learning as we go. It's certainly fun. I've put the most volume in this week that I put in for a long time playing poker, and I'm at it again, going again. I'm going for my COVID vaccination in an hour and a half, and I'm feeling really quite anxious, to be honest with you, really quite nervous. My stomach's fucking churning because I have a real phobia of injections and needles. But I still want to play. It's quite often when I'm like experiencing feelings of anxiety, playing poker is the last thing I want to do. But today I was like, oh, I want to play. I've got an hour to kill. I want to play. Now I haven't got an hour to kill in terms of making a video because I'm expecting my wife home in the next 20-25 minutes, which is why it's only going to be a short video. But still felt like I wanted to play. And I almost never feel like I want to play when I'm feeling nervous or anxious or stressed. So that's good. My desire to play poker is currently very high. We're only maybe 4 buy-ins away now from completing this challenge, which is exciting. But given the way this game goes, if I was to play for 2 hours, I could be 14 buy-ins away. So I'm hoping to get the job done over the weekend so we can have a look at the 1,000 chip buying games over the weekend and see how they look. But we're doing it properly, and I'm not going to move up until we've got the buy-ins in the bank, and we're going to move down pretty quickly too. If I move up to 1,000 anti games, to like a 10 chip anti game, which is 1,000 chips, and I lose 5,000, I'll move back down and grind it up. I'm going to when I've done this challenge and I've won me 20,000 chips, I'm going to withdraw my account back to just the 20,000 chips, so I'm playing with pure profit from these games, and I'm going to try and treat it like proper bankroll management. Now I don't think 20 buy-ins is enough for these games in terms of right, what are we doing here? I'm going to check virtually all these limps. I think like with the variances in these games, 20 buy-ins isn't enough, but we're going to take a shot with that amount and see how we go. Where the spots I really don't know yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to be calling him 10 jack here, because 10 jack's a coin flip against like ace king, stuff like that. It's got 30% against like kings and aces, so it does really quite well. But when there's no other money in the pot, you know, and someone's just jammed, you're getting the worst price possible on it. If I'd raised there to like 40 or whatever, and he'd come over the top of me, then I'd be more priced into call, I think. Don't know what the fuck I was doing with that ace 10. Wasn't concentrating. I've gone all in with the aces because I think if the guy forced 3 bets just 10% of the time, according to these stats. And I think if you make it like 120 there, it's pretty much the same as all in. I don't think people are going to just like peel that wide. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't know there. Is there a 3-bet size that isn't all in this game when people make it like 45 chips to go? People put 10% of the stack in. What are we supposed to make it? That looks like we might induce some 4-bet bluffs. And I don't fucking know. It doesn't feel like a lot to me. Here we've got the interesting situation where we've got a pretty small SPR. We have top pair. I've just been kind of just potting it on these boards and then on these like drawy textures, and then just side calling it off if we get shoved on. We don't love it, but we can't just check fold. We can't be given free cards on this board. And if we're beat, then we're beat. We are beat in this instance. We've got equity now though, and we do not improve. So in these games, I'm still a long way from having a consistent strategy nailed down. I'm still kind of filling out as I go along. Some days I'll feel like something's correct, and other days I'll be like, I'm not so sure about that after all. And my strategy is like constantly chopping and changing. Trivial call here with our monster draw. Nothing much to think about. We're going to be a favourite versus a lot of his hands. We're going to be a favourite versus all his one pairs. Obviously, we're underdog 2 sets and 2 pair plus. And we get the W there with the straight flush, which is nice. I'm not sure with that King Jack hand if we should be putting it. I think once we get to SPR of like around 2, I'm not sure if our flop bet size should just be all in with anything that we're betting with. I'm not sure our size should just be all in. I don't know. Something I'm going to have to try and do a bit of study on. These one pair hands multi-way, I'm not one for going crazy at the minute. We've got like a very small SPR. Here with the queens, it's just off to the races. Okay, we're not racing. We're in big trouble. Let's get our top up ready. Oh, we turn trips. We don't need to top up. How delightful. Oh, and I just folded there because I was too busy enjoying my trips over here. That was a mistake. Never mind. We're going to be very close to completing the challenge, I think, given we just won. I think it was like 2,500 chips away from completing the challenge before starting this video, and it feels like we've maybe won. We're going to be very, very close. If we run good in the next 15 minutes, we might get over the line, or we might be hauled back by the scruff of our neck. Here's king again. I don't know. I do not know what the strategy is here. He's only made it like 7 antes. And all in over the top of 7 antes seems excessive. He's going to fold the ace jack off here. I just don't think it's strong enough. Certainly wasn't on this occasion. Now I think the all-in's entirely appropriate. It's 105 antes in the pot. I think it's entirely appropriate to now go all in. We do have a little bit of fold equity, not a lot, and obviously we have a very strong starting hand. It's definitely ahead of this guy's range and maybe ahead of this guy's. We don't win this one though. We lose. Oops, wrong button. We lose the flip. And we're dealt out of our hand, which is unfortunate. Like my tolerance to variance has stood up very well. I think it's because I'm playing like super low stakes games where the actual dollar amount means almost nothing to me. Even though if we complete the challenge, it means we've won $400 in like 4 days, 3 days, something like that. If we complete the challenge today, we've had like a $400 4-day session, which is tremendous, and it makes me wonder, well, why do you want to move up, Reg? You know, if you can make $150 a week just grinding these games on average, then why would you want to move up? But I think there's potential for decent money to be made, so we're going to take a look, if nothing else, knowing full well I can drop back into these games if it doesn't go well. So yeah, I really relaxed playing it, really relaxed with the swings. Very rare, like last night's session, for example, when I was like maybe close to 10 buy-ins down, quite early in the session. I felt like I never once came off the rails, whereas if I was 10 buy-ins down in an Ultimate Hold'em session or PLO, I'd be absolutely tilting my brains out. The variance in this game, I've never seen anything like it. I thought, if you think no Limit Hold'em variance is crazy, and then you look at PLO and you're like, well, no, that's really crazy variance. And then you look at this, the variance in this game is way, way, way higher than it is in PLO. So theoretically, based on like my history, it shouldn't be something that I like very much. But that's typically that high variance gauge is something I've run away from. But in this game, I seem to just be able to handle it. Probably because I'm playing such tiny stakes. And because I can look around the tables and just see like so many opportunities to make money that I'm just not overly faced when we don't run well. I'm just going to check it back here with our King Queen and win the pot. A call here with our double gut shot and hope to hit the 7 rather than the jack, because the jack makes Broadway. We do hit the 7, which is nice. Just going to lead out now. Not going to risk him checking back, sorry. Doesn't call, he's probably never going to bluff anyway. Yeah, he just has a random 10. I don't think stabbing second pair in these games is a good idea post flop. I think you're just going to you're in multi-way pots almost all of the time, and in no limit hold'em you would rarely bet second pair in a multi-way pot. In this game I think it's even worse to do that. It's all about the nuts this game. It's like flopping strong hands like 2 pair plus, or having like strong draws like open enders, which perform really well in this game, because like the rule of 2 and 4 in no limit is like the rule of 3 and 6 in this game. So if you have an open ender on the flop, you're like 40% to hit it. So they perform super well. Whereas if you flop a flush draw, you're only like 30% to hit it. So yeah. If you flop open enders, you should be encouraged to, especially if you like your open enders to the nuts both end, be encouraged just to like bang, get it in. If you have any fold equity, then it's a massively plus EV play because your just actual equity is really strong. So yeah, stabbing around with like weak top pairs or strong second pairs, etc., isn't really the way to go, because people are just going to have strong draws and good equity against you with their draws, and they're just going to have better made hands that they're not going to be willing to make many bets with, but they're also not going to be willing to fold that much either. I'm proper nervous about this fucking injection. Big fat lad like me, big hairy ass fucking gobshite, and I promise you I am fucking nervous as a kitten about this fucking vaccine this afternoon, and it takes like a minute, and apparently by all accounts it doesn't even fucking hurt. It's not about the pain. I'd rather they kick me in the bollocks almost than stuck a needle in my arm. It's just needles. I just have such a phobia of needles, it's untrue. I'm sure there'll be the occasional bit of reassurance in the chat and trolling after people watch this video, teasing me for being such a wimp, and also the kind people being supportive. It'll have happened by then though. By the time you see this video, the Pfizer juice will already be sat in my arm. Again, I don't know what the fuck I've done here. I've just been too busy not concentrating upon important stuff, talking about nonsense. We'll probably beat, but we're going to pay him off. and we weren't beat because he was value betting third pair. Flop to set here on a monotone flop where 10-9 already beats us too. So we're not going to be looking to build a pot here. Right. That's that. Oh, hello, the current Mrs. Regan. I'm making a video, so you have to shut the fuck up for 5 minutes, love. The current Mrs. Regan is home. Say hello to the people, Donna. Hello. I'm not sure if you heard that or not. I want to do another 10 minutes bet. I didn't think you'd be on. I thought you'd 12:15 you're coming home, not 1:45. So yeah, I was just telling my dozens of fans, don't know how much I'm shitting my pants about me injections this afternoon. My guts are proper churning pet and fucking my arse is falling right out. It is falling right fucking out. Anyways, we're going to value bet our full house here. We are going to, I think, call with our 10-0 or go all in. Which one are we doing? I think we're going all in. I think we're jamming it. I think we're probably doing okay against the 61-23's range, and then all the ones behind can't be that strong. We're ahead. Are we going to stay there? Of course we are. Of course we are, don't know. Got it all in. Pet 10s versus ace, queen and ace 10, and we won. Go us, muzzer. Go us. We're going to be damn close to completing this challenge by the end of this video. 9, 10. It's a very pretty hand. We're going to see a flop. And then we're going to miss. So we're going to be done with it. Ace Jack is going to be a check, probably a call. Now we lose to a queen, we lose to a flush. I think for this price we have to try and boat up and hope people aren't flushing. 9-10 managed to chop the pot somehow over here, which was unexpected. Put face to me. So I was 1,700 chips down for the day coming into this session. So we've won like 4 buy-ins this session. We have to be mega close to completing the challenge. That's saying we're up. This is saying we're 3 buy-ins away. I think we're closer than that. We'll check before we finish recording. Probably get close now. What's that? 700. 1,300, 2,100. So if we had 2,100 to this, 2,000. Yeah, we're like, this is saying we're 400 chips away. 400 chips away from moving up. I think if we get as close as that, I don't think I'm going to play a session. Just say we're like 300 chips short. I don't think I'm going to start a session at this to try and make the 300 chips. I think at 300 chips short, I'll just give myself a free pass to start the next session at the next limit up. But if we win another 300 chips this session before we end the video, so if we get to, that's annoying, if we get that to 18,900, then it is challenge completed. So I'm not sure why the two things aren't quite tallying together. Maybe I messed up at the start. Ace 9 suited here. Could raise it up on the button. Could just check back. Think we'll go with the raise. Try and thin the field, or just pick it up pre-flop. Limp jamming doesn't seem to be a thing in these games. People just either jam or limp and call or limp and fold. I mean, some people are out there limp jamming, but not enough to make it a major concern. Going to make a very small bluff here. When people limp call, not necessarily going to be particularly high card heavy. Once we do get called though, we are going to shut down. If he checks, we might just go all in on the river, because I think if he's got a straight or better, I think he probably value bets the river himself. So I'm just going to try and make him fold a king. He snaps it off with the full house. Bang goes my read. Good read, Reggie. Good read. You live and learn. Very rare that you see people slow playing in these games. Usually checking is indicative of, you know, not the nuts. See so many people just like playing out of floor, betting strong when they have it, that I think you can trust it most of the time. And if you do find someone that doesn't fit that profile, then you know you sometimes fall into a trap. It's just what would I feel like I want to bluff again. So we're going to. This time it works. I think people are so scared of getting sucked out on in this game that when you do have a strong hand, they just like overprotect. But I mean, this guy had no reason to overprotect when he like flop trips turn the full house. It's maybe the one example of the hand where perhaps people aren't mega inclined to fast play to protect because the hand's just so strong. There's very little to protect against. It's more when people like flop sets or flop straights, but they're not the nuts, or they're vulnerable to very strong draws. You just see like 3x, 4x pot shoves. So we're not going to complete the challenge on this video because we had that 500 chip setback here. Who knows, Monday, when the next video is being made, it could be at the new limit, or we could be grinding our way back from a weekend of misfortune. Never know. But I've been trying to limp in with these types of hands, but that happens a lot. People just isolate you a lot, and then you all of a sudden you're playing like a marginal hand from like the worst seat at the table, often against multiple opponents. So I know it's correct to limp a lot in this game, but I'm just not limping particularly wide from that position because you just don't get to see flops very cheaply often enough. Not sure if the queen check should have been a call there on the button. It's a very playable hand. We're going to have position. Looks like someone's set the trap, baited the hook and caught themselves something. Would we have won? Would the 10 ball come to save us? No, we would have lost. Anyway, we've reached the half-hour mark, so we're going to wrap the video up. There's no need to look at results because we haven't got over the line, but it's still been a profitable session and a cheeky little update for you guys. So have a good weekend. Hopefully I'll be back Monday because the COVID vaccine won't have killed me, and fingers crossed Bill, Mr. Gates, will be able to track my progress through the microchip he's put in my arm and not through watching my YouTube videos anymore, so good for him. Take care everybody, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again probably Monday, assuming the vaccine hasn't killed me. Bye bye for now.